From the Weather NorCal Command Center, this is your morning update.
Kent's Meats and Grocery is much more than a grocery store. We carry a full line of quality meats, local and organic vegetables, and a large variety of fish, Green Mountain Smart Control pellet grills, and a full deli case of sandwiches and side dishes.
All right, good morning, everyone. We start with Kruger's Quickcast. Just a quick 1 to 2 minute look at your forecast so you know what to expect before we go into that deeper dive forecast after Kruger's Quickcast. Let's get you out the door this morning. Much more pleasant out there. Temperatures, look at that, in the low to mid 60s in the valley at 8 o'clock this morning. Hey, we'll take that. Maybe open up those windows, letting some of that cooler air. Temperatures even cooler for the higher elevations. Looking at future casts, we do have, the potential. And here's the thing. You're going to notice, especially the north places like, say, Siskiyou County, Modoc County, and even the eastern mountains, could see some afternoon cumulus clouds developing. And in those, we could see the slight chance of a development of a light shower or maybe even a thunderstorm. But it's going to be very few and far between here for today and even tomorrow and Thursday, really. So overall, it's going to be fairly dry, but don't be surprised if you live, especially in the northern mountains in Modoc County, that you maybe see a stray shower or even an off chance for a thunderstorm. The smoke continues to push to the east of the Boise fire, mainly into northern Trinity County once again for today. Now, speaking of today, those temperatures are going to be the low to even some mid-90s, a little bit more that delta influence, low 90s there, upper 80s, mid 90s, low to mid 90s here for the north end of the valley. Temperatures 70s and 80s for the higher elevations, and for the coast, temperatures once again in those low to mid 60s. Now temperatures, they're not changing much. We are going to see a dip in those temperatures over the weekend. Even Redding could drop down to the upper 80s by the time we do get into Sunday. We take a look at the coast, low to mid 60s. We could see some of that afternoon clearing some days, better chances than others. Inland temperatures also dropping. And we keep it that way here for Weaverville as well. Again, notice I'm not putting any thunderstorms or showers in the forecast, but today, tomorrow, even Thursday, there could be a chance for a stray shower or a light chance for a thunderstorm. All right, that's your Kruger's Quickcast. Before we get into the main forecast here, do want to remind you that the most comprehensive fire coverage is going to be in the morning hit, just like the one you're watching now, and even more comprehensive from Kruger, from Coffee with Kruger, live at 7 a.m. That's when we can get interactive. Now, since the fires aren't as active, we're not going to go quite as deep as I typically go, but if that's where you want to see the latest information coming in, click on this banner here. You can watch Coffee with Kruger, and we can, of course, take a look at that fire conditions here. Meanwhile, if you do want to check out the latest on the fires, you can go to that fire danger section from weathernorcal.com. All right, so the cooler weather, it lasts into early next week with a chance for some isolated mountain thunderstorms, as I mentioned. Possibility of stronger winds by the time we get to the end of the week, and in particular this weekend. A closer look at that and what that would mean. And then slightly warmer next week, but not really a big increase in those temperatures. Look at the satellite image here. Most of the activity that we did see was coming in from the Boise fire. That's where we saw the biggest heat signature. And of course, it still kind of lingered even into the early morning hours. If you look closely, you see that little bit of an orange dot. It did relax, not nearly as strong as a heat signature this morning, but still there nonetheless, producing a lot of smoke and keeping poor air quality, especially into northern portions of Trinity County. Here's a look at the latest park fire perimeter here as of 5 o'clock this morning at 39% containment over 429,000 acres. This fire perimeter has not really changed much, if at all, over the last 24 hours. So what you see here is pretty much what you saw yesterday. Again, no changes there. We take you off into the Hill fire, no changes with this fire perimeter, still at 98% containment. This fire, the Boise fire, has grown a little bit, mainly down to the south and east, but you can see the distance hasn't changed, about 3.5 miles to Orleans from the northwest side of the fire. Now the smoke will continue to push itself off to the east. You saw that for today. Right there, you can see it pushing off to the east, even going into tonight. As we go into tomorrow, same situation. We see less smoke in the morning, but then it kind of reestablishes itself going into Wednesday afternoon and Wednesday night. Now the winds, you can see they're still fairly strong this afternoon in the eastern mountains, but not as bad for the valley. But I do expect the winds to pick up. As you can see here, especially for the north and west side of the valley, coming in from the northwest, but for the south end of the valley, coming in from the south. Now, this could be a bit of a concern because it could elevate that fire danger, and we'll take a look at that fire weather risk here in just a second. But the humidity levels, yes, we are seeing some good recovery overnight and early morning hours. but it is drying out. It is a bit drier than I'd like it to see. However, because of the cooler temperatures, we are seeing slightly higher relative humidity levels as a result. But remember, I was talking about those winds. So today, not that much of an issue for the north end of the valley, barely in that moderate range with some of those yellows in there. But as we go into your Wednesday, you can see that we're seeing those higher fire weather risks because of those stronger winds to the north and west side of the valley. Let's take a look at the big picture here. Most of that monsoon moisture is staying off to the east, but we are seeing some of that try to work its way in. You'll see that on Futurecast here. As I mentioned, especially the north end here out towards Siskiyou and Modoc County, but even the eastern mountains, northern Trinity County, and of course the inland areas of Del Norte and Humboldt counties could see some afternoon cumulus clouds today and even tomorrow. And within those cumulus clouds, we could see a stray shower and even an off chance for a thunderstorm for Wednesday and Thursday in particular. The chances are pretty slim. I don't have in the 7-day forecast, but you get the idea. There's Thursday, kind of the same situation. And then really the main focus is any of that monsoon moisture going to work its way in? And it doesn't look like it will. But another focus is this spin of low pressure here. Exactly where this ends up will determine whether or not we could even see some rainfall coming into the latter part of the weekend and early next week. There's the area of low pressure. There's the heat down to our south. Now what's going to happen is a piece of energy will break off. See, the main low stays up over Canada, but this energy breaks off. So not as strong, but it is going to bring some cooler air along with it. There's also going to be another piece of energy breaking off of that, another area of low pressure here. So that's going to help to bring us some stronger south-southwest winds coming into Saturday and Sunday. That's a bit of a concern. Yes, it is going to be more of a more moisture associated with that southwest wind, so that certainly is the good part of it. But the bad part of it is even with the current fires, it doesn't matter where those winds are coming from. If they're strong and there's a current fire, that can create problems. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens with this development of this low pressure system, but that could keep things fairly gusty, if you will, going into this weekend and possibly into a good portion of next week as well. Now we look at the 10-day trend with those temperatures. You see how they're slowly dipping. The coolest will be around Saturday, Sunday, really Sunday, Monday, and then they start to slowly increase again after that, but staying below normal. That's what the Climate Prediction Center has us for the next 10 days, really over the western portions of the United States here. The wave heights, you're going to have to look closely as we go from today to tomorrow. Yes, they are increasing a little bit here, but shouldn't be too much of a concern. In fact, we look at the marine forecast, the main concern will be that patchy dense fog, but should try to at least dissipate here as we go into the second half of the day. Your Trinity County neighborhood forecast, your temperatures are going to be in the upper 80s to around 90. Burnt Ranch, I think that might be overdoing it. I'm going to have to take a look at that and see what's going on with that number. That's not quite accurate there. 69 degrees for Blue Lake, 86 out towards Garberville, and 83 degrees for Alder Point. 83 in Orleans, 85 for Hoopa. There's Smith River at about 67. Those temperatures staying in the low to mid 80s. We take you out to Siskiyou County. Looks like upper 70s to low 80s for those daytime highs as we look at the next 7 days. Now again, keep in mind, Trinity County, some of the inland areas, and especially Siskiyou and Modoc County, for today and especially tomorrow, Thursday, there could be a slight chance for a stray shower or thunderstorm. But again, I'm not putting it in the long range or the 7-day forecast because it will be few and far between. Susanville temperatures mainly in the mid 80s, give or take. And we take a look at your valley neighborhood forecast to the south. Looks like temperatures upper 80s there to around 90. And looking at that 7-day outlook, not much change. It does cool off a little bit here as we do go into the second half of the weekend and even into early next week. Taking a look at your 7-day outlook for Redding, and we've got those temperatures in the low 90s on Saturday and kind of hovering around that 90-degree mark by Sunday and Monday. That's your morning update. We'll see you right here at noon for your afternoon update. Have a great morning.
At Wind River Resort and Casino, we like to celebrate life's little moments. Oh, and the big ones too, because around here, when you're completely in the moment, that's when the magic happens. Come in and find your moment at Wind River Resort and Casino.